Hello, my name is Amanda Surabash, and I am a senior at San Diego State University seeking my undergraduate degree in psychology and minoring in Spanish as well as counseling and social change. As a way to gain more exposure and real-world experience in the helping field, I began to volunteer as a student tutor at Benito Juarez Elementary School. The small and close-knit dual-language elementary school is one of the 15 schools in the Kearney cluster and one of over 200 schools in the San Diego Unified School District, serving about 230 students from the neighborhood and from the school choice program. Since Benito Juarez is a public school, they get a lot of financial support from the community to take the students' education to new heights. As a student tutor, the population I assist in serving are school-age students. Under the supervision of the guidance assistant, I specifically assist a second grade and a third grade teacher along with the 60-plus students they teach. The classrooms at Juarez Elementary suffer the same fate as many classrooms across the educational community: crowded classrooms. My presence in the classroom helps the teacher by allowing them to better focus on the many children who are struggling with the material or their behavior. While the teacher's attention is occupied by lecturing, disciplining, or assisting other students, I serve as an extension to the teacher or a backup. My role as a student tutor has given me many opportunities to monitor, intervene, care for, and educate students on their behavior, emotional needs, and curriculum objectives. Something that stood out to me during my fieldwork is how many of the new students have just arrived to the U.S. as Arab refugees. Many of these students do not know how to read, write, or speak English. Although I do not know Arabic, one of the teachers assigned me to work with these new students. I worked with them during Writer's Workshop and sometimes during partnered reading. The school claims to provide an English Learners Program, which offers concentrated instruction that is tailored to the student's English and grade level. A teacher with advanced training is needed to conduct structured English immersion lessons. Students would be clustered together and sometimes separated from the classroom to focus on improving their English skills. I believe the students I work with would benefit from these services if only they were being utilized. In response to the changes that are affecting these students, I would suggest the district to hire Arabic-speaking staff. This would include teachers, counselors, interpreters, and even parent and student volunteers who know the language and would be able to help make a difference for these students. In addition, setting aside time for scheduled group lessons or an after-school program would better help the students develop their language skills and help them with their schoolwork. Lastly, I would place a heavy emphasis on the importance of psychosocial support through these programs and through family involvement, student participation, and buddy systems. This would help the students with developing coping and problem-solving skills, acculturalization and adjustment to life in the U.S., self-esteem issues, and issues with discrimination. Furthermore, I would encourage teachers to set a time aside to celebrate and educate students about diversity and practicing tolerance. I was impressed with the teachers' and students' interactions with the non-English speaking students. They would make an effort to include the new students and encourage them to participate in class discussions and activities. These particular students are part of a marginalized group who now have to deal with societal pressures to become acculturated. I was very pleased to see the English-speaking students accept and welcome their new classmates and help them through this transition. It was very heartwarming to see children support one another, play, laugh, and learn with one another, regardless of their differences. It seems as though borders and boundaries only play a role when the children played foursquare. This situation reminded me of what we learned when discussing cultural competency and ethics. We are taught that if presented with a client who is of a different cultural background, we are to follow a series of steps to ensure that we are acting out in the best interest for that client. Since I do not speak Arabic, I went out and began learning the language to better serve the students. I also asked other teachers for advice on how to teach these students a new language. After trying to gain cultural awareness, I consulted with my supervisor to review any other options that may be available. The next step would have been to refer the students to someone more qualified, but unfortunately, in this real-world situation, it seemed as though I was the best option at the time. In terms of professionalism and ethics, this real-life situation helped me learn that although I am passionate about helping all students, I must acknowledge the areas where I am not the best or most qualified in, and in the case where I might be the only available option, I need to improve my skills to match the needs of the clients. When I was not working with these specific students, I generally would observe and assist the teacher or other students as needed. My placement as a student tutor limited my exposure to children who were not diagnosed with mental disorders. Therefore, I have not noticed much significant improvement in my ability to distinguish among the various types of mental disorders. I have, however, taken notice to the developmental patterns that take place in school-age children. I think simply being exposed to it familiarized me to being able to distinguish differences in terms of developmental patterns. It was clear that some children were experiencing behavior issues, yet it was not shared with me if they had been diagnosed with any behavior disorders. To monitor their behavior, these students were placed on a behavior contract and met with the counselor to check in on their progress. Previous to this experience, I had no interest at all in working directly with children. I believe I felt this way because of my limited exposure to this particular population. By participating in this field placement course, I gained the knowledge and experience of working with children, which is what I had hoped for. So far, I really enjoy working with this population, and I have grown more comfortable in my abilities to work with them. If I were to continue working with this population, I would follow the path of becoming a guidance counselor, like my supervisor. This would include acquiring a post-bachelor degree from a commission-accredited professional preparation program with an emphasis in school counseling. Now, after spending a semester working with children, I still believe my primary interest lies in working with different populations. Regardless, this experience has inspired me to take a more active role in providing and advocating for the support children need to reach their full potential in life. I am planning to continue volunteering for this agency while also encouraging others to take some time to volunteer as well. Although I have not seriously considered seeking a paid position at this agency, it has been brought to my attention that I could potentially become a substitute teacher. Before I make any decisions, I would still like to explore my options with other populations. I am happy with my decision to participate in the field work course offered by the department. It provided me with the structure needed to analyze my experience in the field. I don't believe one semester is enough to truly be immersed in the experience. I would definitely recommend enrolling in a second semester of PSY495 to other students who are exploring their interests just like me. I would like to thank the friendly and welcoming staff at Benito Juarez and Frank and Kinsey for matching me with a great agency.